Woman with me, Razia Rangrage. It is 30 minutes past 11. Normally we bring you your Palestine update, but today we have a very different update. I mean, if I had to ask you, imagine going to Masjid al-Aqsa in this time, especially when we know the genocide isn't over. It isn't over. How do you feel? Would you go? What would your emotions be like? What would your thoughts be like? Would you think like, maybe not now because, I think I just want to be safe. Like, what are your thoughts? Well, in today's segment, we're actually deep diving all around reflections from Al-Aqsa. And we have a very special guest in the studio. Do join us live on Facebook and YouTube. It's Dr. Raisa Abu Baker, no stranger to the areas of Razia Al-Ansar, as well as Urban Women. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Baker, welcome.
Walaikum salam. Jazakallah for having me on your show again, Razia.
Barakallah. I mean, looking at you dressed in this beautiful Palestine abaya, I love it. From the time you walked in, like, I love it. It's different to what I've seen. Barakallahu feek. And you're coming in with this energy, of course. So Dr. Baker just arrived from Al-Aqsa on Monday, as she said, back fresh. Yeah, bringing us her experience. We are very excited to hear about it. I want to ask you first, have you been to Al-Aqsa before?
So I have been in 2019, a very different experience, also very nice, but this time was even more special.
SubhanAllah, we are super excited to hear about your whole experience, but share with us what actually inspired you to make this trip to Masjid al-Aqsa.
So I always wanted my husband to visit Al-Aqsa.
Like he hasn't been.
Because yes, he's a very spiritual guy, and I just felt like you can't understand Islam fully and wholly or make the connections between the Anbiya and Aqsa and the whole Miraj fully if you haven't been there physically.
You're making my hair stand here. SubhanAllah, you are right.
And it really is hair standing moments when you go to Aqsa. And when I had scrolling through Instagram and I saw that World of Travel and many other groups also have been to Aqsa, they were going. And my husband is very specific about which ulama he wanted to go with, because many people do tours to Aqsa.
True.
When I went in 2019, I also went on a tour then. I would say this was a spiritual journey because the tour guide at that point is very different to going with a mulana from South Africa.
Correct.
So it made a huge difference. So when I saw the ad, I screenshotted and I sent it to him and I said, let's go. And the reason why was because it wasn't like a 3-week trip. It was literally a 6-day trip.
Okay.
So you could make it fit into your schedule.
Wow.
And the ulama that was going was somebody that my husband was fond of. It was Mulana Olga.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing. And he just happened to say, okay, Bismillah, book it, like that. That's how it was. So we decided in one night and then called the agent up and spoke to them, and everything seemed to just fit in place. And we left on a Monday and we arrived back on a Monday.
SubhanAllah, how beautiful. So last week Monday you went and this week Monday you're back, and you're sitting in Urban Women. I love it.
But next day back to school, back to work as normal.
And life carries on, right?
It's just a time when you disconnect entirely from the rest of the world. Like, when you get there, it's just like, firstly, it's because you left everybody else at home. So I didn't take my kids with. And I don't advise you to take little children unless you're totally hands-on parent. And I feel I would have given more time to Ibadat if my small kids weren't there. Previously, I had taken my older kids. They were 9 and 14 at the time. And they really enjoyed it. But this trip was just more to reconnect with Islam and to bring you back down to reality, because there's so many things, so many distractions in our life.
Indeed.
We always want to be out there or getting our business up or socializing, but then we forget about why do we do this. And I think a really, really big part of it for me was when you pray Salah. When you're so disconnected from reality, you read Salah because it has to be done.
Right.
And now when we went to Aqsa and you have the time to give to your Salah, when you come back, when you read your Salah, you read it as a different person.
Absolutely.
And that's just a small part of what I have to say about Salah, because there's so much more than just one thing. It's just there's actually, when you walk into Aqsa, when you walk into the compound, it's the scales of the day of judgment that you're going to see in front of you. You're literally going to see that in the pillars that are there, and the explanation that you get from the person that you're going with is just so incredibly deep. I mean, when you walk into Aqsa, on the left-hand side is a door called Babur Rahma. And it's the door where Isa alayhi salam will enter Masjid al-Aqsa. And
SubhanAllah.
I mean, how would you know that unless you've actually been there?
100%.
So, yeah, it was an incredible
Wow. You know,
experience.
as you're speaking, I'm trying to take my mind there. You can only
Yeah.
fully comprehend if you've seen a place physically, but
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. And as I'm listening to you, I mean, you said 2019 was the
Yes.
last time that you've been there.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're constantly evolving and
Yes.
growing, and perspective changes. And you had a whole different appreciation because you didn't have kids. You had your
Yeah.
husband,
Yeah.
and you were very clear on why you were going, especially after, or not even saying after, considering what the people of Palestine are going through, they've been through, Masjid al-Aqsa, how important it is to us. You touched on basically the tip of the iceberg of Masjid al-Aqsa for us. But share with us, you know, when you walked in, your first impression.
So I will say this, you know, a lot of people are afraid to go to Aqsa because of the war. Okay. I went in 2019. It was pre-war. I felt safer now going to Aqsa.
Why? Really?
I felt safer now because the amount of Jews in Aqsa have decreased drastically.
Really?
The amount of soldiers in Aqsa have decreased drastically.
Wow.
In 2019, when we walked in, I knew my husband would not deal with this place because he obviously, I think it's a lot of men. They have a lot of hatred towards the Yahudis. Let's put it that way, right?
Naturally.
And then when you would walk through the gates, the Damascus gates or the Herod's gate, towards Masjid al-Aqsa, there would be a sea of people walking towards you. Jews who are walking into you, on you, will trample over you. If you fall down, they will just smash you and carry on. They will not move out of your way. But this time, last week, when we walked into the Damascus gate, which is the more busier gate, I was shocked that I could count the number of Jews walking towards me. I probably counted like 10.
Wow.
So it was really incredible to see that. And, you know, we also had, previously in 2019, there were issues at the border. So we had entered through the Jordan border previously, and I was fine with my kids because they were younger, but my brother was also traveling with my parents, and they held him back and the rest of the young people in the group, and the total waiting time was between 5 and 8 hours, right? This time, the way this package was made, Allah Ta'ala made it easy for us. And what really made me change my perspective on life is when Mulana said that Allah Ta'ala has handpicked you to be here today.
Indeed.
How did you end up here? It's not just you just booked the ticket.
No.
He handpicked that you would be here. And he made it so easy for us because when we landed in Tel Aviv, our total waiting time for 15 people who needed further verification, we were a group of 59.
Right.
So I knew that they are softer with women. So when I went to passport control, I handed in my husband's passport and mine, and the Jewish gentleman said, you're fine to go through, but your husband needs further verification. So if you want, you can wait with him or you can carry on. So I didn't want to leave my husband alone there. So I stayed with him. And the total verification time for 15 people was 1.5 hours altogether. So we only sat at passport control. You're not in a dungeon. You're not in an interrogation room. It's nothing like that. And you're just basically sitting there by passport control. They come to you and they say, why are you visiting Aqsa? Then you say, why are you visiting Israel? So you say, I want to visit Masjid al-Aqsa and I want to pray there. And then they'll go back 20 minutes later. They'll come back and say, where are you staying? Then you tell them, I'm staying wherever in Jerusalem, and then they'll go away, they'll come back, and they're just wasting your time. They'll say, are you going to be with the group all the time? And eventually they'll let you go. So that's how our 1.5 hours went. From our group of 59 and the 15 that were held back, 14 of them were let through. And one person was deported, but it was because he had something, I think, on his social media. So I would advise you, if you are going to Aqsa, if there's one thing, I didn't delete everything from my phone. I left groups where I was part of the organizing committee, and I did tell them why I was leaving the group.
Right.
And there were still chats on my phone, group chats where there's Gaza updates and so on, but nobody asked for my phone. I don't think anybody went through my social media. And we were on our way then to Jerusalem. We landed, I think, at about 3 a.m. And by Fajr time, we were all out and ready to start the day.
You know what is blowing my mind away is listening to you explain all of this and think that there's a genocide happening there.
Yes. So
and
when we landed,
it sounds like, wow. But Dr. Baker, you know what? Let's just go for a quick break. It's 11:23, but I don't want to rush the segment. I want to soak up everything you have to share. So just stay tuned, listeners. We are live on Facebook. Dr. Baker is here. She's just arrived back from Al-Aqsa. So much to share with us. And we'll be back in a bit. Stay tuned. Urban Women with Razia Rangrage is proudly brought to you by Checkers Saxony Westwood Mall and Checkers Foods Cowie Park.
Celebrate with flavor. Come visit the all-new Checkers Saxony Westwood. From cured meats, rich and savory, to spicy tandoori chicken, try our authentic Indian curries, perfectly seasoned and ready to serve. Everything is made fresh daily with care and quality you can taste. Our halal-certified deli brings you freshness, flavor and variety worth coming back for. Whether you're setting the table for family or sharing something special on the go, discover the Checkers Saxony Westwood Deli, where good food is always on the menu. Checkers Saxony Westwood, butchery, bakery and deli, certified by the NIHT. Doors open on October 30th. See you there.
Devin, are you ready to fire it up? Nando's Saxony Westwood and Nando's Westville Mall just got cheesier than ever. Bite into the brand new Grande cheeseburger, creamy mac and cheese, or our cheesy rissoles. When the squad's hungry, our flame grilled platters start from only 365 Rand. All the flavor, all NIHT approved. Mashallah. So visit Nando's at Saxony Westwood and Westville Mall. Nando's, original home of the legendary flame grilled peri-peri chicken.
Get ready to elevate your fitness game at First Fitness in Durban's Berea. With a spacious free weight area, award-winning equipment, and exclusive ladies-only parking and training level, we've got everything you need to crush your goals. Hit the ground running on our outdoor track or unleash your inner warrior in our MMA and boxing dungeon. Plus, enjoy high security and ample parking. And don't forget to refuel at our Halal Coffee and Health restaurant for the best in coffees, smoothies, and healthy eats. Join us today and redefine your fitness journey. First Fitness, dare to be extraordinary.
Urban Women with Razia Rangrage is proudly brought to you by Checkers Saxony Westwood Mall and Checkers Foods Cowie Park. And we are back live on Facebook and YouTube. We have Dr. Razia Baker joining us on Urban Women on the airwaves of Radio Al-Ansar International this morning. She has just arrived back from Al-Aqsa. We're continuing listening to her experience in the midst of a genocide. Apparently there's a ceasefire, but when we really look at what's going on, the videos, ceasefire is just a term. The people are really suffering there in Gaza. However, Al-Aqsa, what is going on? And she's here to tell us firsthand about her experience. And we had to keep her in and not wrap up when we were supposed to. So, Dr. Baker, you were talking about something so important, but I had to stop you. Do you remember where we stopped?
Yeah. So it was when we were sitting at the airport. Now it's I had to wait for my husband to answer his questions because obviously I thought he was too old to be pulled over, but nevertheless. So while we were sitting there, I thought, let me go, because you have access to Wi-Fi, and if you're on roaming, you can use your phone. So I said, let me check how far away are we from Gaza. Right. We were only 68 kilometers away from Gaza at that moment in time. So, I mean, they do ask you, obviously, are you going to go to Gaza? Are you going to go to West Bank? And you obviously going to say no. And anyway, even if you wanted to go, you can't. It's blocked off. It's closed off entirely. So you can't even see anything from the distance that you'd be away. But that's how close we were. And if you try to Google Maps how to get to Gaza, it says there's no route. There's no route by walking. There's no route by flight. There's no route by bus, by train, by car. There's no way to get there. It actually made me feel very sad not because I couldn't go there, but because of how isolated they are. And the thing is, when you're driving through Israel, if you're going through the day we were going to Jericho, so Jericho, there's a mountain called the Mount of Temptation, where Isa alayhi salam was tempted by Shaitan. So they take you to see all of that, right? So on the way, you have to pass through the border of the West Bank, and you can see this wall that looks like a prison wall. It's a big, solid concrete wall, and it's to cut them off so they can't go in and out. And there are security checkpoints where they ask, the whole bus will stop, and then maybe an Israeli soldier will get on board and ask you, where are you from? But it's like a normal, any other country would do that. It wasn't like they came in with big guns and threatened us. Actually, one of the ladies actually said, have a safe trip home. And she was a Jewish Israeli soldier. So the point being is that even when I went to Bethlehem in the past, on a previous trip, we drove past this giant prison wall, and they can't come out of there. and
This is so
whoever's on the outside
sad.
can't go back in. So if they run away from Palestine because they're trying to save their lives,
Done.
they can't come
They
back.
can't return.
And that's what we saw a lot with the local Palestinians who said, my brothers are all in another country and I'm the only one left here, and they can't come back, and I can't go to them because they're trapped.
Properly trapped. And really,
they don't even have passports. They have, the people who live in Jerusalem don't have passports. They have a permit that says that they live there. So if they wanted to travel, they have to get a document that gives them like a temporary travel document. They can't get an actual passport. They can't get something that says that they are Palestinian.
Look at the irony in their very own country, their very own land. They are treated as a terrorist. Israel's called them like animals, the human animals. They're treated exactly
they
like
give
that.
all the good jobs away to the Israelis, the Jews. They give the dirty jobs like cleaning the streets and looking after old people and changing nappies, and they give that to the Palestinians, even if they are like super qualified,
just to further humiliate them. Of course, it burns. The heart just like sets on fire, thinking what is going on and how helpless we are. Did you have the opportunity to interact with any Palestinians?
I did. And also, I don't want to make it seem like everything is doom and gloom. You have to visit this place. It's just, it's another world entirely.
Oh man, I definitely got goosebumps.
So yes,
enough
we
to go.
did. On the last day when we were coming back, so this is just one of the opportunities I had. My husband and I were walking back together from Fajr Salah, and we were just about to cross where the soldiers ask you where you're from before you enter the actual compound of Aqsa. And there was an old lady who was trying to use the chair, the fold-up chair, as a walking stick to get down the stairs. So she looked like she was about maybe 80, 85 years old, and she couldn't manage. And so I offered to help her. And so I helped her down, and she got speaking to me, and she told me that she and her daughter live here in the old city, and that both their husbands are shaheed. She didn't say how. I didn't ask how because we were standing right next to a soldier. Not that he was threatening us or anything. It was just not the right time to ask. And I wanted her to give her the opportunity to speak. And she said that, it's really tough for them because they both are female, and then how to earn a living. So it's people like that you give your sadaqah to. And the ulama knows who to give to. They are also spies in Masjid al-Aqsa.
I'm sure.
So you can't just, if somebody comes to talk to you about Gaza, you can't talk about it there. It's not allowed.
Yes.
And you shouldn't. You might get in trouble.
Right.
And then, so in terms of who to give to and who to donate to, go with the reputable organization, or ask the person you're going with, who should we give this to, or give it to them and they will distribute it for you. So there was one tourist shop that we had stopped at when we were going to see Dawud alayhi salam's grave. So the room where the Last Supper of Isa alayhi salam took place and the grave of Dawud alayhi salam is in the same place. And the Jews have control over this area because they believe in King David. And so basically there are Jews there as well. But on the way we had stopped at it was the same day we were visiting the graves of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Yusuf alayhi salam. And we stopped at this tourist shop, and we were told that this tourist shop, the specific one, helps the people in that area. So it provides them with an income. So a lot of the places, they have people making things and selling it at the shop, or the shop donates to the people in that area. So it was so nice to see people just buying things for the support. And I mean, how beautiful to bring home something from Aqsa. They even have little jars, key rings with the soil of Aqsa that you can buy as gifts, and it's so tiny, doesn't take up a lot of space.
SubhanAllah. I mean, you were so blessed, so fortunate, so lovely hearing from you. Were there any moments during your visit that were especially emotional or spiritually moving for you?
I think for me, the biggest, and even from the previous trip, is when Maulana shows you the location, specific location of certain things, like where the Kul Sirat will be. Like that, I mean, who can show you? Who will even imagine where the Kul Sirat will be? And where is the gates of Jannat, and where is the valley of Jahannam? Because the Jews, they pay like $5 million to be buried closer to the Kul Sirat because they believe then they can skip it and go straight to Jannah. But what they
Right.
don't realize is they're burying themselves in the valley of Jahannam.
Subhanallah. Look
And
at
then the
that.
Muslim graveyard is closer to the wall of Aqsa, which is where the gates of Jannah will be.
Oh, subhanallah.
So that was really touching for me. And then also the connection between yourself and the Anbiya, like where Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam made sajda, where he led the rest of the Anbiya in salah. You can go there and read your salah, where he read. Where in the same spot where he put his head, you will put your head. And then, when we go for Umrah, we get the sense of peace inside us.
Indeed.
And that sense of peace multiplied by 10 when you visit Aqsa.
Subhanallah.
I'm not saying to go for Umrah. I'm saying you have to do Aqsa
It's
as well.
spiritual at the end of the day. You can't even explain it.
And you know how simple Allah Ta'ala has made it? Yes, you'll see in all my tahajjud videos, we were the only people there. There were a few other people, but we were the majority.
Right.
But when you go for Umrah and you want to touch and kiss the Hajr Aswad, and people are killing each other to do that.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, I've had the opportunity to do it a few times. And it was amazing. But imagine I told you can go and pray inside or underneath the rock of Jannah, because the dome of the rock covers the rock. The rock itself is from Jannat, and underneath the rock is a cave where you can go and pray. So we prayed our Isha there almost every day because it was free for us to use.
Oh, Dr. Baker, you really made the best decision in coming back and sharing so much. I mean, listening to you, I'm hearing things from a whole different perspective. I'm absolutely so appreciative of it. Many travelers actually say that they've had many challenges of entering or moving around Jerusalem. What was your experience like?
No, not at all. We had it was so easy. Every time we needed to enter somewhere where the soldiers are supposed to ask you, where you from? Mulana told us, just make a dua that Allah Ta'ala make it easy. Each step of the way, he taught us the dua to make it easy. And I promise you, I even used that dua when we had to walk through customs to come back to South Africa because
smooth sailing.
I had a bag full of toys for my kids. And it was so easy.
Alhamdulillah.
So he would tell us to read Ya Rahman Ghisni. And every time we walked past the soldiers, Maulana had a contact.
That's it.
Who just arranged for us to enter Aqsa. No problems. That's it.
When you do anything with that absolute faith, that yaqeen, it
and
really
every
is a
step of the
power.
way, it was like, he would say, when you're walking uphill, read a certain dua. When you're walking downhill, say Subhanallah, and that continuously reminds you of that deen is such a big part of your life. You're supposed to be following this. And one thing that I found was so nice is that, especially if you a lot of people when they travel they fight, but when we jumped into the bus, each time Munana would read the dua for traveling, and he would say, now turn to your partner and smile. And guaranteed you won't fight with your husband on that trip if you do that. So yeah, it was just
So you guys didn't fight on that trip?
No, not at all.
Alhamdulillah. And I like to say, oh my, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Definitely you have gained so much from this trip, and you are sharing such valuable information with us. I think we all need to make that niyyah.
And I think the niyat must be that you're going with the intention that Allah Ta'ala sends you back a better person.
Inshallah.
And if you can just change one thing, I mean, if you wake up every day for tahajjud there, it's so easy to do it here because it was cold there. So
yes, it's their winter.
It's their winter. So if those who are traveling, do carry maybe 2 or maybe even 3 jackets because it is getting colder. But the weather was fabulous. By the time you reach Aqsa, you warmed up. And where we stayed, a lot of people say stay inside the compound. For me, I would say I prefer to stay outside the compound because at night the compound is pitch black and all the shops are closed.
Okay.
And on the outside, like if you wanted to get something to eat or you wanted to do a bit of shopping, but really there was nothing to spend on. We had to find ways to spend money.
Oh man!
And so it was such a beautiful trip. I mean, like
Alhamdulillah. I think many people listening in now probably change their perspective and want to go because I saw one of your videos. That you said it's empty.
So safe. It's just busy on a Friday and Thursday night and Friday, but not even I got placed inside the haram for Jummah easily. There was an empty seat next to me. I was like, which person did I not bring with me?
I would love to hear or understand. I mean, at the end of the day, it just shows us the power of Allah Azza wa Jal. The more they're trying to control and do so much. I mean, here is Al-Aqsa, the third holiest masjid that is empty, that is there. We need to go, inshallah, make the niyyah. Allah
don't be
open the
afraid
way
of anything because there's nothing to be afraid of. It was so safe, so peaceful. imagine you're going to Umrah and it's so quiet. This was the same thing. It was so quiet.
Such a shift, hey? Such a shift at a
Yeah.
time when we're watching such a genocide and so much of helplessness coming in, but such a drastic shift right there in Al-Aqsa and with the Jews themselves in Israel. What personal lesson did you take away as we wrap up? I'll give you
I
like a
think
minute.
it's my closeness to the prophets after this trip. And although I have been before and I did visit similar, like a lot of prophets' graves, but this time it was just because I had a Mulana guiding me, like Mulana would say, don't take your pictures now, listen to what I'm saying, and then you can do whatever you want after that. And it made a difference because normally we would start recording, taking a picture immediately. This time we listened, and then he gave us time to do whatever we wanted to. And I think it's also that realizing that the day of judgment, the day of resurrection is so real. It's not just something that's written in books. It's you going there, you're seeing the evidence. You're seeing the wells from Jannat. You're seeing the rock from Jannat. You can touch it. You can smell it. You can lie on it. The kids play around in that area. And it's just the connection between the history of Islam and bringing it all together. And nobody paid attention in Islamic history at school, but I promise you this was like you were totally attached. So yeah, alhamdulillah, that was the biggest change for me that I felt that I brought back was the closeness that I have to the Anbiya itself, themselves, and understanding how my religion, how everything connects together and how everything will be resurrected on the day of judgment.
And that is the truth, essentially, at the end of the day. We're going to leave this dunya, as they say, it's just 2.5 seconds of the akhirah. We're going to go there. So, Allah Azza wa Jal tells us to reflect upon his signs. And from what I hear, as you sat there, you were definitely present. And when we're busy with our phones, we are not so present and we get caught up and we can lose many things. So that was beautiful, just bringing that into the consciousness.
I mean, when where the Dajjal will be killed, we went to the tree where the Dajjal would be killed. I mean, it's just, I can't, there's so much I have to tell you. It'll take hours.
Let's have you back again, inshallah. It's amazing how Allah Azza wa Jal worked the spot, the slot for you to come in.
I had a day and one gap. So
this was the gap that Dr. Baker had available. Subhanallah, Allah Azza wa Jal really. وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. Allah Azza wa Jal is indeed the best of planners, inshallah. I'm sure he planned for you to come back again. We'll connect and we'll find out more. Until then, Jazakallah khair for your time. Allah Azza wa Jal bless you and take us all to Al-Aqsa.
Ameen.
Allahumma ameen. Till then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.